Latest speculation is that Caroline Ellison is now working with the federal government in the case to prosecute Sam Bankman-Fried on those 8 cases brought to him on the collapse of FTX. Now, there's a lot of interesting topics to talk about and a lot to cover off, but in this video, we're going to be taking a look at how likely is it that Caroline Ellison is now working with the government in bringing down Sam Bankman-Fried and potentially even the wider cryptocurrency environment. We're going to take a look at all of that, her early part of life, and exactly what we think. So that's something you like the sound of. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, slightly different video on this one, and leave a like if you find this video helpful. Now, looking at the global market, we see we took another aggressive turn down today. Looking at the weekly chart, we can see we topped out all the way back in November 2021, the height of the bull market at $3.028 trillion for the entire global market. We currently sit 753.31 billion, a significant decline. And you can see as the decline of the global market through the bull run into where we currently sit now, which is on the back of a number of black swan events, more importantly, the FTX collapse. Now, looking at Caroline Ellison and what she has to do with this, well, it's interesting. Caroline Ellison from the start, and there's not a lot about her. She has gone absolute radio silence, but originally the daughter of Glenn Ellison, a professor of economics at MIT. Why do I tell you this? It's important to understand what sort of upbringing and what sort of life she had when you come to things like risk management, and importantly, how likely is it she is prepared to rat Sam Bankman-Fried out. Now, in her early career, she did start at Jane Street, a trading firm that does a number of different trading options, futures, cryptocurrency, options trading, EFTs, a number of different things. She started here straight out of university. So graduated from university and then moved into quantitative trading, like I said, with Jane Street, you can see on the screen there. And that is where she became involved with Sam Bankman-Fried. It's where they met. They were both here as junior traders. They're only here for about 19 months. And then she joined Alameda Research in March 2018, became the CEO along with someone else until October 2021, and then became the sole CEO of Alameda Research in 2022. So think about this. So was a junior trader at Jane Street, became a part joint CEO literally just a couple of years later, and then the sole CEO about a year after that. Absolutely insane to think about that position that she had. Now, what we do know is she was very, very bad at trading. Now, again, Alameda Research had an unlimited amount of trading funds, along with a number of other things that had Alameda ahead of anyone else, basically. But look, an inside document supposedly shows Caroline Ellison's margin position was at $1.3 billion in the whole. For those that don't know that, that means her trades and her positions that she held were negative by 1.3. Why? Because there was no margin calls, there was no stop loss points attached to this. She could basically trade what you want. So again, here you go with someone who's come out of university that understands the theory of trading, all of a sudden with a huge amount of money at her disposal and seemingly no laws, rules or anything to stop her doing that. Now, what's people talking about? Well, we got this article coming out of the Daily Mail Sam Bankman-Fried's ex-girlfriend Caroline Ellison working with prosecutors against him to spin her narrative days after she hired a top lawyer. Now, you've got to think about Sam Bankman-Fried in this situation. Went to Congress. He was in bed with Gary Gensler. Whatever people tell you, he was in bed with Gary Gensler. They were working on an exchange that both allowed him the leverage of the Securities and Exchange Commission, but ultimately allowed Gary Gensler to get involved with crypto. No one wants this guy involved with it. And ultimately, Sam Bankman-Fried was supporting it. Now, whether some documentation is going to come out, and I know that the committee meeting's very keen to understand the email links into Gary Gensler. Lots of calls for him to go to court. Was there something a bit more in this? Now, Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda, apparently working with federal government against her ex-boyfriend. She's appointed the head of multi-billion-dollar company that we talked about. But it says, Sam Bankman-Fried's ex-girlfriend is cooperating with officials to spin her narrative days after she recruited a legal team and top lawyer. And again, that's an important point when you think about this. Because when you talk about her lawyer, Stephanie Avakian, who was, interestingly enough, a chair in Securities and Financial Services Department, she was once the former director of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Division of Enforcement. the actual thing Gary Gensler works out. So again, they're going to want to spin a narrative. I think there's something a bit more in this. Like, Mr. Gensler is not particularly happy, but she is clearly going to have links into government. She clearly is going to have links into the Securities and Exchange Commission, and she is lawyered up for Caroline Ellison. Now, unlike Sam Bankman-Fried, Caroline Ellison has gone radio silent, potentially being seen in a coffee shop in New York, who actually knows, but radio silent, and just lawyered up, haven't said anything, and now potentially is spinning her narrative. It says former US Attorney Mark Litt weighed in on the matter and said that he wouldn't be surprised if Ellison was cooperating with the investigation because she has a choice to make. Bankman-Fried is behind what prosecutors are calling one of the biggest financial frauds in American history, following the collapse of his $1 billion digital currency exchange. So they can spin a narrative that it's CZ Binance and it's all him and it's a massive scam. Ultimately, he was defrauding customers out of their own money, margin moving it to Alameda Research, and a junior trader of 19 months was running a multi-billion-dollar fund and investment company. Absolutely insane. And again, the reason I talked about Caroline's upbringing is because if you think about her, where she currently sits with this, and why would she go to the federal prosecutors? Well, she's never had responsibility other than running this company, and we know she's done interviews where she talks about the fact that they didn't even use maths, that actually it was just basically all a big game. Never probably had to work for anything in her life, gets an unlimited amount of money, and really did cock this one up. What's my opinion? Do I think she's working with the government? Absolutely, 100%. I think she is, and I think you'll see much more of this come out, and I think this is bigger than a lot of people think. But Caroline Ellison, in my opinion, is absolutely in bed right now, along with her lawyer, to bring down both Sam Bankman-Fried and everything he did stand for in the world of cryptocurrency. And all that being said, that's why we're seeing such an aggressive dip in the market, and I unfortunately don't think it's finished yet. Whatever this FTX thing continues, I think we're going to see some more downward movement and some more aggressive dips, and ultimately we're going to see an ambition to regulate, to step in. And I think Caroline Ellison is positioning herself that she doesn't go to prison and somehow worms a way out of this, and I think Sam Bankman-Fried is stupid enough to take every single bit by himself. Very interesting. I'm going to keep up to date with all of this. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Caroline Ellison is working with the SEC? I am really, really interested to know your feelings. You know that we love her on this channel, and if you know what that means, I'll see you on the live stream 9 p.m. later on today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you got something out of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.